Welcome, everyone, to Props and Parlays Today. I am Andy Lang, being joined, as always, by my fellow prop betting expert, Andrew McInnis. It's the first Monday Night Football show of the year. Andrew, welcome. Let's get into it. We're just going to be breaking down Bears and Vikings. We're going to go through all the different categories. Then Andrew and I are going to build a same-game parlay. We each get to pick two legs. We'll go over anytime touchdowns, and then we'll do look ahead. So, Andrew, takeaways from week one real quick.
Takeaways from week one, variance. How about that? I mean, everyone talks about it. Everyone talks about going into the year, hey, be careful with this team, be careful with that. We saw a lot of turnovers. We saw a lot of missed field goals, missed extra points. We saw some guys get heavily targeted, some guys not get it much. I think we talk about it in the against the spread world and in the totals world, but we might not mention it as much in the prop betting world. But I would say that it's definitely take a step back and breathe, as a lot of handicappers would say, because you know what? It's just 1 week. So looking at some teams that struggled offensively or some teams that did really well offensively doesn't mean you shouldn't go back to that guy from a prop perspective, or this one player that went off for 100 yards in the air doesn't mean you need to go back to them either. So I would just say overall, Andy, week one is still week one for prop bettors, and doesn't mean these players are going to replicate that in week two.
Yeah, I mean, you look at teams like the Bengals; they were a stats disaster. The Lions were stats disaster. So yeah, don't panic. And maybe this is hopefully the books overreact. You know, we always talk about the public overreacting, Andrew. Hopefully the books overreact to week one and we get some really good lines. So, all right, let's break down Monday Night Football. And while we're doing this, guys, please hit the like button. It really, really helps us out. Post in the comment section below your favorite prop for tonight. Give us a same game parlay. Just give us something. Actually, do that. Give us a same game parlay. Go crazy. Give me 10-1 same game parlay in the comment section. Let's hit a banger tonight. So, all right, Andrew, let's start with passing props. We got Caleb Williams and we got JJ McCarthy. I'll go first here and just tell you I'm going to take under 223.5 from JJ McCarthy. This seems like a dangerous spot for a guy making his first start, Monday Night Football. I would expect them to try and run the ball and try and keep this guy out of harm's way. This is a Bears and Vikings. Both are ranked in the top 10 in offensive line from PFF. The Vikings secondary ranks 27th. So if I'm the Vikings, I'm giving a heavy dose of Jordan Mason and Aaron Jones tonight. So I'm taking unders on JJ McCarthy, not because I'm going all in on saying I don't think he's very good, but not sure the opportunities are going to be there, and we saw some bad quarterback play yesterday. So, what do you think about passing props?
Yeah, I think I'm right there with you on that one. I'd probably look towards some unders with McCarthy as well. And again, looking at the unders for him, it's not just for him being young. It's also what you just mentioned, Andy, playing to their strengths. You know, I think they're going to protect him well. I think it's going to be a lot of tight end play, a lot of running backs potentially catching balls, and a lot of short passes. So, sometimes we talk about, do we look at receptions or yards for receivers? We look at completions or attempts for quarterbacks. From where I'm sitting, I think if we were looking towards an under and we were picking completions or attempts tonight, I'd probably be looking more towards the completions for McCarthy, because I do think the attempts numbers – I'm looking for the attempts, because I do think that there's going to be just so much running going on that he could complete his passes, because there's going to be a lot more safer passes and short passes and connect to that. So probably look towards the under there. Agree with you on that one. But my main one that I like as far as the passing today here, and this has a lot to do with Ben Johnson, new guy in town for Chicago here, and a lot of pressure on Caleb Williams coming into this second season. I liked what I saw in the preseason. I know we're not allowed to say that because it's the preseason, but all the quotes, everything I'm seeing, I feel like they're going to open things up a bit. They're not going to be shy here. So what I like is over 35.5 for the longest pass completion for Caleb Williams. There's going to be a time they're going to air it out, whether it's a play that gives them the lead, whether they're down in the game and they need to make up for it. He's going to air it out a little bit here. And last year, his farthest was 47 yards. But I think we're going to see a lot more excitement, a lot more kind of plays on maybe third and long. They catch us off guard a little bit. Don't just go for that first down, but they go deep. So Caleb Williams, longest pass completion over.
I'm with you that I think this offense is going to be much, much better. I think Caleb is going to play with a lot more confidence. I actually have him noted for over 20 and a half completions. I went back and looked at Jared Goff last year because that's where Ben Johnson was. And boy, the last 8 games of the season, he flew over this completion. And he had Caleb Williams had 18 and 32 completions in 2 games against Minnesota last year. So if I think Caleb Williams is going to take a step up, and also this running game of the Bears, which we'll get to in rushing props, I like Swift, but it's not the Lions. Last year, like Jared Goff had these 2 amazing running backs that he'd hand the ball off to, and he was still completing a lot of passes. So I'm going with Caleb Williams over his completions, and I'm going to throw Caleb Williams to not throw an interception in our same game parlay because it's minus 106. We hit 2 props this weekend on not to throw interceptions, and these are your rinse and repeat. Every week, we're going to play Jordan Love to not throw an interception, and we're going to play Justin Herbert to not throw an interception. Caleb Williams, he only threw an interception like 4 games last year. He throws it away or he takes a sack. He just doesn't really force the ball in a whole lot, and I don't think he had any against Minnesota. So I think we're in agreement here. We like Caleb a little bit, and we're a little bit nervous for J.J. McCarthy, yes?
I'm curious to see, Andy, how fast they do kind of let him loose a little bit. Like we're essentially saying that we expect one guy to be handheld tonight and one guy we expect to absolutely come flying out of the gates. We'll see how true that ends up being, but I'm curious to see how exactly loose they let him get right away.
Well, it could be a situation where, like, if the Vikings are down, it could get fun because then McCarthy has to, we see him in a hurry-up offense. We have to see him open it up. So that would be, this could turn out to be a very entertaining game. Let's move to the rushing props. Andrew, Jordan Mason's rushing total is 39.5. Boy, that doesn't sound like a backup. That sounds like a timeshare. What's your take on these rushing prop numbers?
Yeah, so I agree with that one as well. I think I would probably look towards Aaron Jones rushing attempts under. So I guess that kind of correlates a little bit as well. I think we're going to see a little bit of everything. So I would look towards Jordan Mason, of course, if I'm looking towards the under there on Aaron Jones. But one thing I wanted to mention is the fact that, looking at a guy that I just said is not going to pass the ball a ton, or when he is passing, he's going to be a little bit more safe. I love looking at quarterback rushing props. And I know this is a young man here, but I think the number is just way too low. It was 16.5. Now it's 18.5 with JJ McCarthy, Andy, but I'm still interested in it. I think he's still going to face some pressure. I think that he's going to be smart, hold on to the ball, and he's more athletic than you might think. You look at some of his tape, this guy can move. He'll escape the pocket, and he's not going to blast out for a 25-yard run. But if he gives me a few rushing attempts, bet you he gets over this number here. And again, if we're thinking it's going to be a lot of dink and dunk or over the top to tight ends, who's to say he's not going to get over there a little bit? To me, this number should be more around 25.5. So I'm happy to take JJ McCarthy over. But I think that Mason under on rushing attempts, that Aaron Jones under on rushing attempts is good, just because I do expect it to be a pretty shared load. And that's going to be one of those ones. I'll tell you, I watched a game with somebody that was a fantasy owner of Kenneth Walker yesterday. And I have a feeling this type of situation might end up being the same as what you saw there yesterday.
Yeah.
Like it's on the goal line and you're wondering who's going to be the guy that ends up going in there to punch it in. That might be a problem if you have fantasy running backs on this team.
I think more teams should do it from an NFL perspective, but God, from fantasy and props, it makes it an absolute nightmare to figure it out. I mean, but you watch Seattle and it was like, hey, they were both good and healthy, and neither of them were beaten down by the end of the game. So it works NFL wise, but he
was plus 105. Kenneth Walker, first drive of the game, they're on the 1 yard line. He's not even out there.
I think this rushing prop on Caleb Williams is interesting. I'm looking at his attempts, 4.5. This is a guy that rushed 10 times against Minnesota last year, and when you look at his stat line, I mean, it is a lot of 4s and 5s and 6s. It's a little bit juiced. It's minus 140, but again, kneel downs count. So if they're up and he happens to be out there and grabs a couple kneel downs, he is mobile. We've seen him run. I mean, this is a guy that's had long rushes of 11, 24, 23, 16. So, he can get out there and move. I expected this to be 5.5, not 4.5. So I'm going to look at Caleb Williams to go over that. And I think DeAndre Swift could be really, really utilized like the Jahmyr Gibbs type role. Is he Jahmyr Gibbs? No. But could he be used like that? So I'm looking at this 75.5 rushing and receiving. He averaged 9.2 yards per reception last year. So anytime he caught the ball, bang, there's just 9 yards for you. So there's not much depth in the Chicago backfield. Roschon Johnson is the backup. He's questionable, but he went over this 9 times last year. So I think Swift could get a lot of work. He was a guy I wanted in fantasy drafts, and he was a guy I was interested in week 1. And I don't know how to dip my toe in the water, because if he has a big game and it's like, oh yeah, he's gonna get 18 carries and 6 catches every week, it's just like, oh, the cat's out of the bag here. But what do you think about DeAndre Swift here?
I like the idea behind, guys that can catch and receive. I think when you and I have talked about it over the years in the show, like look at Breece Hall this weekend, look at Travis Etienne this weekend. I mean, if you can bring that to your team, I mean, all kinds of guys. I mean, even Derrick Henry, like yesterday. I mean, you and I feel like Derrick Henry's been the all-star of the show since we started doing this, but he also hit his receiving yard prop, Andy, yesterday. Like, imagine if you took his receiving prop and you're like, oh no, he's got like 150 rushing yards. Oh no, he's got you. Like, he also hit the receiving. So I think I would look towards that as well. I think he's going to be utilized both ways. So I wouldn't talk anybody out of that rushing and receiving prop. I'm right there with you on that one. Do you think that when you look at him though, if you look at the Caleb Williams rushing and just how mobile he can be, does that make us like the reception and receiving side of him more? Or if he's sitting there, thinking about what the game plan is, do you think that makes him think, all right, well, I'm probably going to be catching short passes a lot more than running? Because like, even look at, I'm not saying like Josh Allen didn't run that much last night, but look at James Cook. Like, he's like, if you bet his rushing yards over, like going back to last year as well, and you watch him catch a 2-yard pass and then run 40 yards, like how pissed are you? Because you're not getting any rushing yards out of that, right?
He's one guy in the league where you can't just bet one. He's a guy you have to bet both. And you bring up a great point with it, because last night you're like, oh, how many yards did he have? A ton. And it was like, but hardly any rushing. Because he had that big screen back. So he's one. You and I talk about we really don't like the category of rushing plus receiving. It can be really hard, but he's one that checks the box. And I just have a feeling Swift is going to be that guy. I guess Jahmyr Gibbs is probably another one that you're looking at taking the combo of. So
yeah. You can't take one of them, really. You shouldn't.
No. So there's probably your only 3 guys that I would even say is an option at that point. So, Andrew, what do you have up for everyone at WagerTalk today on this Monday?
I'm excited. I got a 5% play. I actually wasn't planning on it. Didn't have it up for a while. The more I broke down this game, the more I found a prop that I just really, really liked. So 83% run on NFL, 4% and 5% bets combined. So best bets, you can get that up right now. And I have a special going up this afternoon. So if you want to wait to buy that, and instead of the play, we're going to do buy 1 month of NFL, and we're going to give the rest of the CFL season for free. So you buy 1 full month of my team totals, sides, totals, props in the NFL. We're throwing in CFL plus the playoffs at no additional cost. So super excited. 5% play going tonight. I was researching the card, super, super heavy, and found one I really liked that was 5% worthy. So can't wait for that. How about yourself, Andy? What's going on with you?
I'm going to sit out tonight's game. We went 6-4 yesterday. I'm extremely happy with that. If I can walk away with a 6-4 week every week, that's 60% for all you math nerds out there. I'm going to be really happy. So there was a bunch I liked. I put that Caleb Williams over completions as a free play, but I'm just going to take the winnings from this week and move on and just be happy to say, hey, we were profitable in week 1. But if you want all sports, we're still running that special promo code Andy30, ANDY30. It gets you 50% off 30 days worth of play. So you're getting all of our plays, MMA, you're getting our NFL, you're getting college football, cricket, tennis has been a monster over the last few weeks. So any play and 50% off doesn't get much better than that. It really doesn't. We're number 1 last 3 years in profits. So just been a great run. And we always say, hey, you haven't tried this for the first time, give us 7 days, give us a month. If you give me a month, I think you're going to be happy with the results. And that way you can get 30 days of what we do and how we approach this. These are plays that we bet with our own money. Every play that we put out, we have our money on. So take advantage of that. Promo code Andy30 gets 50% off 30 days. Let's move to, let's take a look at receiving here, Andrew. I'll go first. I'm going under Justin Jefferson, but I'm looking at his receptions. If I don't trust J.J. McCarthy here tonight, I don't think I'm going to trust Jefferson right away. But I want his under receptions because I don't want the yards in case he catches a long one. But to say McCarthy and Jefferson get on the same page 7 times, I mean, he's the one they're going to put all of their attention to in the secondary. So I'm going Justin Jefferson under his receptions here. 7 is a lot in J.J. McCarthy's first game. Could they get there if they're behind? Yeah, but man, I just that seems like a lot. We saw Jamar Chase disappoint, so they're not all going to have great games. So Jefferson under 6.5 is one thing that I'm looking at. What about you?
Yeah, I like that, Andy. And you know what's funny is there's a lot of teams out there that had success, but that main guy didn't have success, right? So it's not like you're saying that they can't win the game without him going over this number, right? And that's the thing and we're looking at low volume potentially for the passing attempts overall with them. So I like that one quite a bit. I'll tell you one that I'm looking at here, and this is an under, is Adam Thielen. And I was debating, do I look at the receptions or do I look at the yards? And 2.5 receptions under plus money. And then I started to think more and more about it. And I was like, updated number 32.5 for the receiving yards. He very well could catch a couple of short balls, like shorter-ish balls that keep him still under that 32.5 number. So I'm going to look towards the under on him. With the running game expected, with a couple guys being expected to be utilized in the running game, with tight ends utilized, with running backs pass catching as well, there's only so much room for receivers. So, I mean, Justin Jefferson's still going to get a handful himself. I think I'll look towards the under on receiving yards for Thielen. He could very well surprise me and be that guy that slots right in and has himself a kind of a sleeper type of a day. But as of right now, I got to see it before I believe it. I'll take his under there. And one guy that I like is TJ Hawkinson over. I think he's going to be that safety blanket. He's going to be the second favorite target of the team. I think he's going to be someone that J.J. McCarthy is going to find quite frequently. And it's going to be one of those guys that he's not going to find to make that big play. He's going to find to move the chains, kind of get that flow going, and he'll make him feel very comfortable and be a guy that he can rely upon. So his number is 42.5 yards. TJ Hawkinson to the over.
So I'm with you on this Adam Thielen. I think you could get really, really cute with this. So I'm messing around with this. So what if you did Adam Thielen under 32.5, but over 2.5? You can get 4-1 on that. So what if he catches 3 short passes and just does as a safety blanket, just doesn't get hardly any yards? His longest catch is 16.5. That seems ambitious, to say the least. So I don't know. I kind of like Adam Thielen over receptions. I'm not betting it, but I like where you're going, that the yards it seems a little inflated here. Here's another guy I'm going under. I don't. What if Rome Odunze just never happens? What if he's just never a thing? So I'm going under 50.5 receiving. This guy went under this in 13 games. Whenever I watched him, it just didn't seem like him and Caleb Williams were on the same page, like ever. So maybe I'm wrong, maybe new offense, but this Rome Odunze, And if he's not good again tonight, this number is just going to keep getting lower and lower and lower. And then he's going to have one game where he catches a long one, and then they'll put it up. But I'm kind of out on the Roman Dunze thing. He didn't impress.
The only thing is with the new coach, he seems like a guy, and just based on some of the stuff I've read, like he seems like a guy that could just out of nowhere be a lot better and be more involved. So he's kind of like the 10-foot pole prop for me. Like I don't even want to go near anything he's involved in because he very well could have himself a game, or he could just minimally be involved. So curious, like that number, Andy, that number is kind of weird to me as well. Like it's kind of setting a number where the expectations are like, okay, he could do something, but then it's also like based on what I've seen before, I don't really want to play anything with him. So, we've got one new coach angle and we've got a new quarterback angle. Obviously, we know about Ben Johnson, but at the end of the day, it's still the Bears. We can't forget who it is right now. We can't forget the team.
It's true. It's true. Yeah, that Roman Dunze number, how vanilla can you get? 50.5? That just screams the books don't know. The books don't have an opinion on this one. So let's move to anytime touchdown scores. And man, is it fun when you have a game where everybody is plus money. Every person is plus money. I'm kicking myself. The James Cook touchdown prop was amazing last year, and that was one that we completely forgot to stay away from. But we hit the James Conner one. I thought they'd score a lot more points against the Saints, but he does get in there. So, I mean, we're looking at Justin Jefferson plus 135, DeAndre Swift plus 150, Aaron Jones plus 175. Which one sticks out to you?
I think DeAndre Swift is probably one to look at. I know it's not the biggest and most juicy odds, but hey, it's still pretty good. And I think if we're going to talk about him being used as a pass catcher as well as running the ball, it just opens up more opportunities. If they're on the goal line, we're not just talking about him punching it in from 2 or 3 yards. If they get close, we're talking about maybe them being 10 yards out and him catching a couple yard pass and being able to run into the end zone that way or break through. To me, there's just kind of the more opportunities and the more different ways he can score, the more I'm interested in. So I do think that he's somebody I want to look at. And hey, if I'm going to talk about a guy that I like for receiving yards, a guy that's going to be super comfortable for JJ McCarthy to throw to, then I got to look at my tight end. I love the tight ends. I love betting these on primetime games. I'm looking at Hawkinson to get his touchdown. And when you look at the number here, 12-1 for first touchdown score, and anytime is plus 250. I'm gonna do a little sprinkle on that first touchdown.
You kind of took the words right out of my mouth. I like Loveland as well. I think if you played both of those tight ends, I think one of them hits. Obviously there's no history with Loveland. I just know the Bears were really, really excited to draft him. They drafted him over over Warren, and Warren falls to my Colts. Hallelujah. Thank you very much. We'll take it. And he was good yesterday. But yeah, if you're the Bears, don't you want to roll out your new toy? Okay, yeah, we drafted him over Warren. Watch what this guy can do. So we have no numbers. I have no trends to really back this one up, but I was looking at that one.
Plus 250 and plus 390, Andy.
Yeah. One of them catches a touchdown. You're very, very happy. Can I interest you in a Bears defensive touchdown? JJ McCarthy,
Ooh.
little behind on an out route that gets taken to the house, 5-1. That one, 5-1's not too. I mean, that's a complete ripoff. For a price, defensive touchdowns need to be 10-1. Having to only 5-1 is criminal at that point. But just saying, defensive touchdown might not be the worst, the worst thing in the world here. So, I'm not. I don't know. Maybe we're overthinking it, and it's just Justin Jefferson at plus 135. How many games are you going to get Justin Jefferson at plus 135 to catch a touchdown? But I think we've settled on we like DeAndre Swift. We like the two tight ends there. So
I think similarly to talking about DeAndre Swift pass catching and rushing, I think Aaron Jones could be an option. I mean, hey, look, we're not getting a plus 300 here, but plus 175 is what I'm seeing in my book here. I mean, that's worth it to me.
He's the starter. He was here last year, so he's probably going to get first crack if they get down to the goal line. So, all right, Angie, you ready to build a same game parlay?
Let's do it.
All right, all right. Well, I'll go first because I already told you one of my legs, and that's going to be Caleb Williams to not throw an interception. Went over this before. This guy is a rinse and repeat. Just he doesn't throw these interceptions, and for some reason, the books just keep giving us really, really good numbers on this. This is only minus 106. And like I said, he only had, I think it was 4 games last year where he threw an interception. So my very first piece is going to be under half an interception for Caleb Williams. What's your next leg?
Man, I love that one. And honestly, I think it's because he's so good at just throwing the ball away. Even like when he sees trouble, he just like tosses it away. So I like that one quite a bit. I'll go back to the one I mentioned at the start of the show with that longest completion for Caleb Williams. So we're starting things off with the same guy twice, over 35.5 for the longest completion for Caleb Williams. I feel like he's going to be set free. I'm looking forward to the game. Last night on social media, Andy, all you see are these tweets from people being like, hey guys, like, hate to break it to you, but Vikings Bears isn't going to be as good as Bills Ravens. Yeah, we all know that, but I feel like this game's still going to be fun. This game has potential to have some fun here.
Yeah, we get it. We get it. That was an all-time game. We get it. Not every game is going to be that fun. Thank you. Let's go to we've been talking about DeAndre Swift, so I feel like we need to do something with DeAndre Swift. So I'm going to take Swift to have a pretty good night receiving here. So I'm going to take a look at his rushing and receiving. Give me 80 plus yards rushing and receiving at plus 113. We throw a plus money leg in there to really up the price here. So I'll go DeAndre Swift. There we go, to have 80 plus rushing and receiving. All right, finish us off.
All right, Andy, we're doing 2 each here. And I think we talk about there could be a shared workload here, but this guy's still the guy. We just talked about touchdowns. I was debating. Let's get a touchdown one here. Plus 175. Aaron Jones, senior, to get in the end zone.
Aaron Jones of the senior. All right, Aaron Jones. To go in there. Oh, that really helped us out. This is now a 14-1 same game parlay. Yeah, you throw a plus 175 in there to score a touchdown. Yeah, that automatically jumps it up. So, all right, there we go. It's Caleb Williams to not throw an interception. Caleb Williams over his longest, 80 plus rushing and receiving for DeAndre Swift, and Aaron Jones anytime touchdown score. That's your 14-1 banger there. All right, we're going to do a look ahead here. This is where this is to me the most important part of the show, where Andrew and I go about, hey, what are we looking for in week 2? So that way when the prop numbers come out, we know what we're looking for, and there's an expectation of teams and defensive units we want to fade or support. So let's take a look at NFL week 2 look ahead. Again, if you please hit the like button, it really helps the YouTube algorithm out, and put in the comments section below your best bet for tonight. Put another same game parlay that gives us a 10-1 or something in there. And if you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, what are you doing? It's football season. Have you seen how many breakdown videos we have? Hit the bell. You get notified when all of these videos are posted and when we all go live. And don't forget to catch WagerTalk today, every single day at noon Eastern time, where we break down all the sports. And it's football season, so we're very heavy NFL and college football. So, Andrew, let's do a week 2 look aheads. This is kind of a combination of what do we see in week 1 and how does it apply to week 2. So what games are you looking for?
Let me start with this. I mean, I was venting quite a bit, pretty much to everybody I know, because I, in fact, drafted not 1 but 2 Philadelphia Eagle receivers in a couple different leagues that I'm in. And then I remembered that you don't even need to have receivers on the Eagles because the running back and quarterback are so good at moving the ball. But this matchup is going to be a bit different. And I think in this game, against the Chiefs, which is going to be unbelievable, they're going to have to throw the ball a bit more. So I think we're going to see A.J. Brown not just reading books on the sideline, but actually getting balls thrown in his direction. So there's going to be a lot of people overreacting, similarly to how I was overreacting on my couch. And we could look towards some receiver props here for the Philadelphia Eagles. It's going to be a good one. I think that the Chiefs, I'm not really taking a shot at their defense, but I do think that they're going to be involved in a lot more back and forths and shootouts this year. Very interested to see how this Chiefs team actually starts out, like their first 4 or 5 games. But I'll be looking towards some of those receivers for the Eagles. Which else was it? What else did I want to mention here? There was one. Oh yeah, when I look at for the Jags, I'm not impressed by some of the stuff I saw from the Jags yesterday. Like, I want to look towards T-Law. I know this might be a little bit shocking here because it's the Bengals. I want to look towards T-Law under. I'll be looking towards a couple receivers under for the Jags. They're playing the Bengals. I get it, but they just played the Panthers. And I think that we did see a lot of long drives from this Bengals team yesterday. I feel like that's going to be a new thing that they want to do is establish possession, hold on to the ball a little bit, not be involved in these shootouts. The fact is, I know it was against the Browns. Don't get me wrong. But I think that I hear people talking about the Jags yesterday like they played a really good team. I'm sorry, it was the Panthers. So I might look at fading some of the player props there for the Jags. And overall, I want to ask you, like, did you notice there were more fumbles and picks yesterday than usual? Or was that just something that maybe the games that I happened to be watching? Because it's kind of making me want to look at a lot more interceptions props than I ever have in the past.
Well, I was betting quarterbacks to not throw interceptions, so I don't think I necessarily, but I think some of the fumbles and turnovers were so exaggerated. Like the Derrick Henry fumble was just like out of nowhere, and it literally cost them the game. That was just it was. I mean, the Ravens had that game. By the way, the live lines on Derrick Henry, like at some points were like 175. And he got up to 177 rushing, and then they dinged him 9 yards on that fumble. So you were winning your rushing bet, and then all of a sudden you weren't. I noticed kickoffs with these new rules. They're not blasting the ball out of the end zone, so you're getting some better starting field position. I don't know how that affects the props, but I noticed whenever there's a score, you can always be like, oh, I can go grab a snack or a drink or something because they're just going to do a kickoff and blast it out of the end zone. And now that's not really the case. I was watching to see, where the ball is going to end up after the kickoff. So I'll have to go look at the stats and see if there were more interceptions and fumbles this week. Couple takeaways. The Bills secondary is completely banged up. They have basically no depth at this point, and I should have done more with the Baltimore game with points and stuff. We had a Lamar Jackson prop that cashed, but I drafted Justin Fields in both of my fantasy leagues, and he did exactly what I thought he was going to do. Ran for 48 yards, scored a touchdown, only completed 16 passes, but super efficient. I think he's going to have another big game against this Bills team. This Bills secondary, they are lacking weapons. They're not healthy right now, so I will absolutely take some Justin Field props. I'm just going down these. I'm taking unders on this Commanders team on Thursday night. That Packers defense looked great. Andrew, your team is really good, man. You guys
I'm excited.
You guys are very good this year.
Did you see the rushing yards for the Tigers for the Lions when Micah Parsons was out there? -4. -4.
Wild, man. Wild. That's going to be an overreaction game. Like, oh, the Lions are done. They don't have their coordinators. I'm going back to the Lions props. I think your team's just that good. Calm down on my Colts. They're not this good. They just happen to be playing the Dolphins. So if we get an inflated number on my boy Daniel Jones, I'm taking the under on that one. Giants and Cowboys. I expect a little bit more from Pickens, but by the way, the Giants. Yeah, I would expect him to get the ball a little bit more. The Giants were great. What the coach say was like, this loss is absolutely not on Russell Wilson, and they were like, well, is he going to be the starter next week? He's like, I don't know.
I feel like that's happening for a few years now. So
okay. Bears and Lions. We'll see what the Bears defense looks like tonight. I'm not going to be scared of the Lions offense. They're going to get back on track. Rams and Titans. I got nothing. Patriots and Dolphins. Woof. That's a bad game.
I just want to say, Drake May, I used to always bet the Mac Jones over on completions on our show, and then Drake May I didn't really do much with. They had 13 points, Andy. He had 46 passing attempts, 30 completions, 287 yards. Like, he was slinging it. He doesn't really sling it that far, but like unfortunately, I was forced to watch this game because I had a teaser with the Raiders plus 8.5. like Hunter Henry and some of these guys being involved.
Forced to watch the game.
Yeah, I had a gun to my head to watch the Patriots game yesterday. But yeah, I feel like I feel like the Patriots are going to be a team where you could bet player props to the over and they could hit their over and they still have a garbage game on the scoreboard. Like if you go through, some guys did pretty well props wise for the Patriots yesterday, but they scored 13 points.
They can't have Drake May throw it 46 times. I mean, Travion Henderson had 5 carries. Ramondre had 7. I mean, Drake May had 4. They have to run the ball a little bit more. And this wasn't like a game where they were getting blown out. They were in the lead at one point, and they just refused to run the ball. There's going to be an adjustment there. 49ers and Saints. My biggest regret was not putting anything with Pearsall in. That's a guy that's going to catch his longest reception a lot. He is not a guy that just comes over the middle. They look for him deep. And even though he only had 4 catches, he could have had 6, 7 long ones, but 108 yards. So I'm looking over longest reception on Pearsall for sure. Seahawks, Steelers, I don't have much there. Browns, Ravens. Flacco, over his attempts, just keeps obliterating this number, Andrew. They cannot run the ball. They don't even try to run the ball. They've thrown in the towel on running the ball, and they're going to be down. So if he starts again next week, it was 36.5. It was an easy cash for clients. I don't know what they're going to put this at.
Nice.
If it's below 40, I think I'm probably playing the over on his attempts. He just chucks it all over the place.
I had a loser in that game yesterday. Njoku over on receiving yards. And man, he had the targets, though. That's the thing. And you know how we always talk about, and you've done a good job over the years making me be like this. Like, you lose on a player once, don't be scared to go back to them. I actually won't be shy to go back to Njoku again, man. I think that he's a guy that, it's not like I watched that game. Like, there were actually, I think, 2 receptions that he had, and then it was called back. And they were like, oh, the flag is back at the offensive line, the scrimmage. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, he would have gotten closer. So he's a guy that if they're going to continue to throw the ball, I think Njoku's a guy we could look to. And it seemed like it was a popular play, too. I was like scrolling Twitter. I'm like, oh, man, I'm not the only one on this guy. And I don't know. It didn't end up going too well.
Eagles and Chiefs, just rinse and repeat. Jalen Hurts score a touchdown. That was an easy cash. Just playing it every game. Baker Mayfield over 1.5 touchdown passes. Jalen Hurts anytime touchdown. Herbert not to throw an interception. These are plays you just play every single week. Boring is profitable. I promise you. In the betting world, boring is profitable. So. Falcons and Vikings. We'll see the Vikings tonight. Buccaneers and Texans. Whoa. Talk about a team that did not address their offensive line issues. The Texans. Yikes. That was a team I walked away from week 1 a little bit horrified of going, what props are you taking on this Houston Texans team with any confidence? I mean, like, they're good offensive skill position players, but their offensive line can't protect. I don't know what to do on that team. And then Chargers and Raiders. What'd you think of the Chargers game plan? That was a lot of throwing. Do you think this continues? You think this is the 2025 Chargers, or was that just game plan?
You know, just trying to think back to the game, like what I thought about it, like this is the first time I watched like Justin Herbert though, and I said like, man, this guy's actually making good decisions. I was impressed by the decision making. Like I didn't see him like look downfield, see a guy in like triple coverage and try and make that play. Like even the run he had to like solidify the game. Did he used to do that? I don't know if he used to do
He's been mobile, but he got hurt. He was hurt last year, I remember. So he didn't run a lot. That's another guy that doesn't throw interceptions hardly. But I thought it was the best he's looked by far. I thought easily that was the best game eye test that he's looked, and everyone remembers how bad he was.
Well protected, I have to say. Actually, he was pretty protected.
It's a Harbaugh coach team. They're going to have a good offensive line. Like, they lose one of their best players on the offensive line, and they just happen to have meanwhile, the Texans can't find any. The Chargers are just busting in starters from other parts of the team and other parts of the line. So
I had to say, I saw a clip of Joe Burrow, my friend sent me, and he was like, it was like an angle of like not like an outside view we watch on TV. It was like behind him from one of those cameras they have like on the field. And it was just like, imagine being a pro quarterback. And it was like he had like 0.8 seconds to like snap for the ball to be snapped, get the ball off, and then he just got obliterated. So one thing I feel like I'm going to take away more this year is not being as hard on quarterbacks and being harder on the offensive line.
Yes.
Because if we're like,
yes.
man, he's not getting the ball out of there fast enough. It's like, dude, he literally couldn't even think for a second before he got smashed. So, yeah, sometimes it's not a quarterback's fault, actually, even though we always think it is.
Last guy I want to mention, I didn't get to draft him in any fantasy league, and I'm mad that I didn't. But Jacoby Myers is just going to be a real thing this year. 8 catches, 97 yards. That entire team has been upgraded this year. And Brock Bowers may be the number one pass catcher. He's the number one wide receiver. Like he had 3 more catches than Brock Bowers did. So Jacoby Myers over receptions, over yards is going to be something. I mean, 8 for 97. That's a line I think we're going to see a lot of in a game where Geno Smith only threw the ball 34 times. So I'm not too worried about
against
Genty.
their defense, though. I might look at. I mean, they played the Patriots, so I might be looking at some Chargers props just because. Hey, the Raiders didn't look that good. They still just played the Patriots, so I wasn't high on the Patriots at all. So
Truth. So, all right, guys, that's going to do it for us. Go get Andrew's 5% best bet for tonight. And Andrew, good luck on that one. We'll be pulling for you. So don't forget to hit the like button on our way out. And don't forget to leave a comment in the comment section. Thanks so much for joining us. First episode of Props and Parlays Today. We will be here every Monday to get you ready for Monday Night Football props, same game parlay, and then we'll do the week 2 look ahead for props. Thanks for joining us. Good luck on your bets tonight. Take care.